国产车做成这个样子，真的是伤透了用户的心了。
The way this domestic car is built has really broken the hearts of its users. I couldn't drive it yesterday because it was in the shop again. The air conditioning failed. The fan wouldn't spin, so there was no cooling, only hot air blowing out. It's that fan. Lately, this cooling fan has been the issue. Sometimes, if I give it a tap, it starts turning. But if it doesn't spin, the AC just can't cool. I took it in for inspection, and they said the motor inside was faulty. After spending the whole morning on it, they finally got it fixed. I didn't want to criticize BYD at first, because doing so made me feel foolish about my decision. This was a new energy car I had wholeheartedly chosen to support, BYD, one of the top-ranked domestic brands. Some friends had recommended Geely and Chery, but I believe BYD had the best technology and quality. It was the first among traditional Chinese car makers to develop electric vehicles. We placed so much trust in domestic brands, but what did we get in return? They couldn't even make a small fan properly. What more can we expect? I used to drive a Toyota gasoline car. It ran over 300,000 kilometers without ever needing major parts replaced. The quality was solid. Why do other companies build their products with sincerity without cutting corners? When will our domestic brands stop relying on hype and deception and start making cars that are truly reliable and durable for everyday people? Despite heavy promotion by Chinese patriots, otherwise known as little pinks, and marketing accounts, the Chinese car brand BYD has been facing ongoing challenges. Recently, the company found itself shut out of India, a market seen as crucial for its expansion. Meanwhile, American car maker Tesla has been welcomed with open arms by the Indian government. On April 7th, at the India Global Forum, Indian Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal told Bloomberg Television, "We must carefully consider our strategic interests and cautiously select our investment partners. Currently, the answer for BYD is no." India's resistance to Chinese car companies is not new. In 2023, BYD and a local partner proposed a joint venture worth approximately $1 billion to establish electric vehicle and component production lines in India. Great Wall Motor, another Chinese automaker, experienced delays due to slow approval processes. Initially, it was believed that BYD might have been bogged down by India's typical bureaucratic procedures, requiring more time to establish connections. However, with Minister Piyush Goyal's firm statement, many now speculate that the rejection reflects more than administrative or technical issues. It appears to be a deliberate political stance, indicating India's current reluctance to allow BYD entry. In contrast, Tesla enjoys a different atmosphere in India. Despite Tesla founder Elon Musk's repeated dissatisfaction with India's high tariffs, the Indian government has never turned him away. Instead, there have been hints from Indian officials about potential tariff concessions if Tesla decides to manufacture in India. The Indian government has even considered customizing facilities for Tesla in key industrial zones. Nonetheless, Tesla remains cautious as importing fully assembled cars is not profitable under the current tariff regime, and any decision to build a factory would depend on whether the supply chain and market size are supportive. This disparity in treatment between BYD and Tesla, both foreign automakers, seem absurd but may indeed reflect India's vigilance towards the Chinese Communist Party. Some scholars argue that India's refusal to allow BYD entry is primarily to prevent dumping and protect local industries. This has been clearly stated by Minister Goyal. Chinese manufacturing is often labeled as dumping by other nations due to factors such as labor cost advantages, economies of scale, government subsidies, and supportive industrial policies. If BYD were to establish a factory in India, it could potentially introduce low-priced electric vehicles, significantly impacting local car manufacturers. Over the last decade, India's automobile industry, especially the economy car sector, has developed steadily under the protection of high tariffs and subsidies. The entry of a competitor like BYD could threaten the market shares of local brands such as Tata Motors and Mahindra. The Indian government believes that allowing Chinese automakers to dominate could eventually weaken local manufacturers, making it too late for any future discussions on cooperation or equal market access. BYD's established electric vehicle and battery operations in various countries already place considerable pressure on Indian officials. Opening the market to BYD might pave the way for other Chinese enterprises. India prefers to take a preventative approach by keeping its doors firmly closed, rather than trying to mitigate the effects later. At the same time, there are serious concerns about the quality of BYD's vehicles. An influencer complains that buying a BYD car can be a frustrating experience, and purchasing a car from its sub-brand, Formula Bao, can be even worse.
没想到这个车
This car started leaking oil from the cloud suspension system, even though I never drove it off-road. You claim that your hydraulic suspension is more stable and reliable than air springs. So, why did my car start leaking oil after just 6 months? First, it was the right rear shock absorber. A month later, the left front one started leaking too. I don't know what's going on. You replaced them for free, but now, less than 3 months later, it's leaking again. I can't tell if it's a problem with the parts themselves, or with the installation, or the technician's skill during maintenance. Honestly, as a car owner, this has been incredibly frustrating. This owner shares his experience, saying that while the oil leak was bad enough, he later encountered even bigger surprises.
我的车子在高速上
Right before the Chinese New Year, I was cruising on the highway, listening to music, when the entire car system suddenly crashed. The screens all went black. Just imagine, you're driving at highway speed, and the navigation shuts off. The main screen goes dark. The passenger display stops working, and even the dashboard goes black. Then it switched into basic mode. At first, I thought I might have accidentally pressed something, but I hadn't touched anything. I went to a 4S store, but they couldn't find the issue. I kept driving like that for a week. The screens kept cutting in and out at random, with no pattern. Later, I took the car to a larger 4S store in Shanghai. They initially diagnosed a wiring issue in the car's system. There were no modifications, no tampering, so why would a new car have faulty wiring? Was it aging? Or external damage? Honestly, this experience has really damaged my impression of the brand and its quality control. Another owner complained that after he bought a BYD electric car, the vehicle developed rust and paint peeling in multiple places.
看看它的质量如何啊。
Let me show you the BYD Chin EV Plus I bought and what its quality is really like. I got the car around June 20th, 2003, and in just over a year, it started rusting. This area might not look obvious, but take a look here. This isn't just paint, it's completely peeled off and bulging. See that? It's rusted all over here, and even this part is rusted and bubbling up. Every corner of every door is rusted. This part too. It's hard to film clearly, but inside, it's rusting as well. Look at this. It's severely rusted. Inside the pipe, fully rusted. Over here too, and even over there. Both sides are rusted. That's corrosion. Even the screws, look at them. They're completely rusted. If I open this part, the inside is rusted too. What I'm showing you now is just the tip of the iceberg. I found rust in over 20 places, and that's just what I can see. Sadly, China's social media is still flooded with brainwashing videos from little pinks, claiming that Chinese companies like BYD have become major international brands. Times have changed. Chinese industry and manufacturing have come a long way. Cars are getting cheaper, and we owe that to Chinese automakers. Every time BYD launches a new car, they drive prices down. In this regard, super factories will definitely play a big role in the future. Globally, the race for technology is heating up. Chips are being withheld from us. AI access is restricted, but we're still making steady progress. BYD's marketing is a way of showing strength, flexing a little. We believe that more factories like this will rise in the future. Compared to the videos from Little Pings and marketing accounts, the accounts from the car owners seem much more authentic. Another reason for India's rejection of BYD is based on geopolitical and security concerns. Since the 2020 India-China border conflict, India's sensitivity to Chinese companies has escalated. Geopolitical experts suggest that India may harbor concerns about BYD's technology or production chains, potentially involving funding or backing from the Chinese government. This speculation is based on India's recent move to require a stricter approval process for all investments linked to Chinese capital, underscoring persistent concerns about national security, data, and technology exports. When discussing BYD's challenges in India, the term political influence of the CCP is frequently mentioned. In recent years, the international community has remained highly cautious about China's strategic economic activities. Whether it concerns the Belt and Road Initiative or Huawei's challenges in the 5G market, there is growing anxiety and skepticism about the connections between Chinese companies and the Chinese government. If a nation suspects that a Chinese company could aid the Chinese government in data collection or economic and strategic infiltration, it immediately implements protective measures. Over the past few decades, the Chinese government has supported both state-owned and private enterprises to varying degrees, complicating the distinction between market-driven funding and covert government or military backing. Scott Paul, president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing, has noted that BYD's leadership has numerous connections with the CCP, describing the company as a government extension. Although BYD is a privately listed company in Hong Kong and Shenzhen, with Warren Buffett holding nearly 10% of its shares, Washington increasingly believes that no truly private enterprises exist in China. Large companies must maintain close relationships with the government and comply with party directives. Consequently, even if a company lacks overt political connections, geopolitical considerations have imbued nearly all economic activities with political motives. When scrutinizing large Chinese companies like BYD, the Indian government inevitably emphasizes political and security risks. The strained relations between India and China, including border disputes and geopolitical competition, result in stricter scrutiny of Chinese enterprises by India compared to other countries. Compared to Chinese automakers, American automakers appear to garner more trust and favor from the Indian government. This preference can be attributed to the strengthening U.S.-India strategic partnership. As U.S.-China relations deteriorate and India-China relations remain tense, India and the U.S. are inclined to enhance strategic cooperation, particularly in economic and technological areas. India is keen to attract U.S. investment and advanced technology, with senior officials expressing hopes to leverage American companies to boost India's technological manufacturing and R&D, thereby elevating its global industrial status. Tesla, emblematic of American high-tech and smart manufacturing, is highly favored. Moreover, Tesla possesses patents in core technologies in batteries, power systems, and autonomous driving software. Establishing R&D or manufacturing centers in India would greatly benefit the local automotive industry and the development of high-tech talent. In contrast, while Chinese companies also offer valuable technologies, collaboration with Chinese firms often involves heightened political risk for India. India aims to position itself as an alternative manufacturing hub in the global supply chain shift, and collaboration with American automakers can deepen supply chain trust with the U.S. Ironically, the Chinese government has boasted for the past 2 decades that made in China is unbeatable, seemingly uncatchable by competitors. However, as global political landscapes shift and trade disputes intensify, global apprehension and resistance towards Chinese manufacturing have grown. Experts indicate that India's rejection of BYD is not merely a blockade against a single company, but reflects a broader geopolitical strategy. Some might question why, despite its touted market size and technological prowess, China's leading automaker is barred from entering India. Experts explain that this situation highlights the Chinese government's long-standing expansion strategy. In countries lacking substantial political trust, local governments fear that Chinese companies might serve as instruments for the Chinese Communist Party's overseas political influence. As global vigilance increases, Chinese companies inevitably become the primary victims. This scenario, while seemingly absurd, accurately reflects the global market's long-standing cautious stance towards the Chinese model. The challenges faced by BYD are not merely technological or product-related. The persistent political undertones associated with the CCP label the company as a risk, regardless of performance. Some commentators liken this to a highly skilled chef who wears a gas mask while cooking, deterring diners' appetites.